How'd you get your name?
Well, your Nana had this big blue dictionary. I think I was maybe 8 or 9 when I said to her one day, "What does my name mean?" And she said, "Look it up in the dictionary." Sounds like Nana, right?
Yeah.
And in the back of the dictionary, it was an Oxford dictionary. There were all these names, and I found my name, Dilys. And it means a good and true friend, and it's Welsh. And when I looked up my second name, it was Italian, or it is Italian, and it's Ancilla, and it means a hand made of God. And I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I was young, I talked a lot. And
That's where I got it from.
well, Daddy would say, yeah. And I always felt like the odd one out. And people would always just talk about, you just talk too much, you talk too much. When I found the meaning of my name, I made a decision that I wanted to be that. Like, that's what I wanted people to remember me by, that I was a good and true friend. And it helped me to make a decision about the person I wanted to be.
You came from Jamaica, and when you moved here, you started going to Linden, right? And that's where you met Dad.
Yeah.
If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't exist.
Well,
which
that's
would be
true.
awful. That would be terrible.
Your name, you have 3.
Yeah.
And the reason we named you the names that we did is because of my own experience with my name. So of the 3 names you have, Micah, Asher, Oluwagbotemi, you say that Oluwagbotemi is the name that is really special for you.
No one in my class has that sort of name. Like, they may just have a middle name, and that's just because probably the parents couldn't decide out of 2 names, so they just decided to give one first, one second. But like, each of my names has like a specific meaning, so I think that's like a pretty cool thing to have.
Do you remember what Oluwagbotemi means?
It means, the first part means God,
Yeah.
and then,
Who are you to our family?
a prayer that was answered. God has answered my prayer.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's good. When we found out that we were gonna have you, you know, I told you that names mean a lot to me. When I moved from Jamaica and I moved to New York, one of the things that happened when I went to Linden and I met your dad was I got exposed to a Nigerian community. And as a little girl growing up in Jamaica, I had read about Nigerians because of a book called Things Fall Apart by a Nigerian Igbo man named Chinua Achebe. And that's when I discovered how important names were. I realized that one of the challenges for people like us who come out of the African diaspora, me specifically coming out of the Caribbean, being born and raised in Jamaica, your dad being born here, and others who were born and raised here who identify as African American, that we don't have a connection to where we come from. We don't know who our families are. We don't know what tribes we belong to. So when I discovered that in the African context that names mean a lot, just as in the Hebrew context, names mean a lot, I wanted to give my first child an African name. And when we moved out here to California, and we had discovered right at graduation that we were pregnant with you, and it was scary because you know that before we had you, Daddy and I had 2 miscarriages. So
Yeah.
that's why you talk about not...
Rest in peace to possible siblings.
That's right.
I wish I knew you.
Yeah, yeah. We chose to not name you our initials, right? Daddy was like, no, because you know, Daddy and I have the same initials.
Dab.
Yes, and then...
That's not cool anymore.
Yeah, I know. But we decided we would go with M's, and I wanted Old Testament, so it was either Malachi or Micah, and Daddy picked Micah. And Micah means, who is a God like Yahweh? And then, because you were the child that I prayed for, like through my whole pregnancy, I was so worried that you might not happen because of what had happened before. And we came out to California, we went to our church, and there were people who were Nigerians, and they belonged to another tribe, a large tribe from Nigeria. They were Yoruba people. And I asked a Yoruba person, I said, hey, would you find a name for me that means God has answered my prayer? Oluwagbotemi was the name they gave to me. And then we had this awesome experience of having a traditional naming, a Yoruba naming ceremony for you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, we invited people over and we said lots of prayers about you. We said your name, and we just had a community of people who prayed for your life, you know? And so part of the reason we wanted to put these names on you, you've said already, you feel pretty unique because you have 4 names. You feel pretty unique because people can't pronounce your name. you feel like, you know, these names set you apart. And more than the fact that of those things, it is how we want you to know that we are clear that God has always known you. God has always chosen you to be in our family. And we wanted to put these heavy names on you so that in the times when you feel like I don't fit in and I don't belong, when you think about your name and you remember and you say your name, you will know that you do belong. Has that helped you as you've been going through school?
Yes, but more the whole people can't pronounce it part, because that just gives me a quick laugh.
To be an 8th grader going into 9th grade. Well, thank you so much for spending this time with me today.
It was fun.
Good, I'm glad.
Dabbing's still not cool, and I'm sad I did that now. Cut.